The grass is wrong. That's the first thing you notice. Not the temperature, not the smell, not the sound. The grass. It's taller than it should be. It reaches your chest and it moves in ways you don't expect. And somewhere inside it, something is moving towards you. You don't breathe. You don't move. You crouch behind a rock the size of a refrigerator and you watch the grass sway, and you wait. But first, let's talk about how you got here. Your morning started the same way it always does. 6:52, alarm. You lay there for a minute staring at the ceiling, deciding whether the day was worth getting up for. It was a Tuesday. You work in tech, not the exciting kind. You write documentation for software that most people will never use. You sit at a desk for 8 hours and translate what engineers build into words that other people might understand. It's quiet work, precise work. You're good at it. Nobody notices that you're good at it, but you are. Your apartment is small. You've been meaning to hang pictures on the walls for 2 years. You never do. Coffee, shower, laptop open. The day was ordinary until 10:14 a.m. That's when the package arrived. You weren't expecting anything, but the box was there outside your door. Small, brown, no return address. Your name on the label in a font that looked handwritten, but wasn't. Inside was a device. That's the only word for it. Roughly the size and shape of a compass, metal casing, slightly warm to the touch. A single dial on the face, marked in units you didn't recognize at first. Then you turned it over. Etched into the back in tiny letters, for calibration purposes. Do not use. You used it. You turned the dial. Nothing happened for 3 seconds. Then everything went white. The white lasted longer than you expected. Not painful, not loud, just white. And then the sensation of falling without moving. Then grass, chest high, alive, warm. You're standing in an open plain under a sky so blue it looks fake. No road, no building, no sound beneath the sound. In every direction, the land rolls out and never stops. To the west, a tree line. To the east, something that might be a hill or might be an animal. The air smells like rain and copper and something you have never smelled before. Your phone has no signal, obviously. Your watch says 10:16 a.m. Your watch is useless now. The device is still in your hand. The dial is turned as far left as it goes. Etched along the bottom of the face, you can now read the units clearly. Years BP, before present. And the number the dial is pointing to at the far left edge of the scale, 100,000. You put the device in your pocket. You breathe. You look at the sky. You are 100,000 years in the past. The world is bigger here, not in size. Bigger the way empty space is bigger. When the wind dies, it is genuinely silent. The kind of silence you have never actually heard before, because your entire life has taken place inside the noise of the modern world. No distant traffic hum, no aircraft, no electrical buzz of infrastructure, just wind and grass and the sound of your own heartbeat. You are in Africa. You don't know exactly where, but you can feel the shape of it. Paleoanthropologist Chris Stringer spent 40 years reconstructing what this world looked like from bones and sediment and ash. He called the African savanna of 100,000 years ago the cradle of behavioral modernity, the place where Homo sapiens stopped being merely anatomically human and became something stranger, something that told stories, something that buried its dead with flowers. You walk toward the tree line. The grass whispers against your legs. Something small and fast cuts across your path and vanishes. You keep moving. The trees are acacia, wide canopies, flat-topped, the kind that look like they belong on a postcard. You reach them and stop, because under them, about 60 meters ahead, there is a fire. And around the fire, there are people you don't approach. You crouch behind a fallen log, and you watch. 12 of them. Men, women, children. Their bodies are lean in the way that bodies are lean when food requires effort to find. They move around the fire with a kind of easy organization you recognize immediately, even across 100,000 years. The way people move when they know each other. When they have done this before, they are fully human. That hits you harder than you expected. You were braced for something more distant, something more primitive. But the person crouching by the fire, turning a piece of meat on a flat stone, has your face. The shape of the skull. The width of the brow. The way they tilt their head to check the heat. Your face. 100,000 years ago. Anthropologist Richard Klein at Stanford argued that the real revolution in human cognition happened right around this exact period. Not a slow drift, a sudden cognitive shift, the brain rewiring itself for language, for planning, for the kind of abstract thought that lets you imagine things that aren't in front of you. Looking at these people, you believe him. A child at the edge of the group is drawing something in the dirt with a stick. You can't see what it is, but they're doing it with intention. That's clear even from here. Nobody laughs loudly. But there is movement that might be humor. There is a moment where two adults disagree about something, and you can read the argument entirely in their gestures even though you can't hear the words. Then it's over and they're sitting again. The fire pops and the smoke goes straight up because the air is still. You realize you're hungry. You move through the tree line parallel to the group looking for something to eat. You find a cluster of berries and stop. You have no idea if they're safe. That's the problem with this place. Everything looks like something, but nothing comes with a label. You're standing there, berries in your palm, when you hear it. Behind you. Close. The sound of something large exhaling through its nose. You turn slowly. It's a cat, not a lion. Built differently. Heavy through the chest, a skull that looks engineered for one purpose. It's looking at you the way things look at food. Still. Certain. Unhurried. You are in open grass, alone, in the Pleistocene, being studied by something that has never learned to fear humans, because humans have not yet given it any reason to. You drop the berries. Paleobiologist Lars Wordelin documented how large predators and early humans competed in Africa during this period. The same prey, the same territory, the same firelit nights. The cat in front of you is not a rival. You are not an apex predator here. You are a medium-sized primate with no weapons in open ground. You back up one step. The cat's head drops 2 inches. Then there is a sound to your left. A shout. Sharp and high and loud. Then another. Something flies through the air and strikes the ground 1 meter in front of the cat. A rock. Then another. A third clips its shoulder. The cat holds for 1 more second. Then it turns and disappears into the grass without a sound. You exhale. Standing 5 meters to your left is a man about your age. He has another rock in his hand. He's watching the space where the cat was. Then he looks at you. He says something in a language that doesn't sound like anything you have ever heard. But the tone is clear. He's asking if you're all right. You nod. He watches you for a moment. Looks back at the tree line. Says something else. Then he turns and walks back toward the fire. He doesn't look back. You stand there for a long time. You don't go back to the fire. Not that night. You sleep in the trees. It's cold and uncomfortable, and something small walks across your hand twice in the dark. But you're alive. In the morning, the group is gone. The fire is ash, and the ground where they slept is compressed and still faintly warm when you press your hand to it. You find the spot where the child had been drawing. You crouch down and look. An animal. Rough lines but clear. Something 4-legged with a large head. Made by a child 100,000 years ago who had never seen a photograph, never held a pencil, never been told that art was something worth making. They made it anyway, because that's what humans do. That's what humans have always done. You look at it for a long time. You take the device from your pocket. The dial is still as far left as it goes. You turn it slowly back towards center. Your hands are steadier than you expect. The grass smells like rain again. Somewhere distant, the cat or something like it makes a sound low enough that you feel it in your chest before you hear it. You think about the man with the rock. The way he stepped out of the grass without hesitation. The way he looked at the space where the danger had been with something that wasn't fear. Something older than fear. Something you don't have a word for but feel clearly in your chest right now. Then the white comes back. Then the falling without moving. Then your apartment. Your desk. Your blank walls. The device is in your hand. The dial is back to center. Your laptop clock reads 10:19 a.m. 3 minutes. You were gone for what felt like an entire lifetime. You were gone for 3 minutes. You put the device in the drawer. You sit down. Outside your window, the city hums. Traffic, somewhere below a phone ringing, the air conditioner clicking on. Noise, stacked on noise, stacked on noise. You open a new document and you start typing. Not documentation, not work. You type everything you can remember: the grass, the fire, the child drawing in the dirt, the man who stepped out of the tall grass without being asked and threw rocks at something that could have killed him for the sake of a stranger. You don't know what he told the others that night around the fire. Maybe nothing. Maybe he said, "I saw something in the grass today and it looked like us and it was afraid." You'll never know. But he threw the rock anyway. You look at your blank walls. The grass is wrong, you wrote at the top of the page. It doesn't seem like the right place to start anymore.